Hello. Today I am going to try and review Duncan Hines Keto Friendly Chewy Fudge Brownie Mix. So it is 2 net carbs per brownie. I'll be using a 9 by 9 baking dish, cut it into 12 pieces. 1/12 is going to be 1 serving. It has 170 calories, 10 grams of fat, and then it has 3 grams of protein. So it's pretty high fat and high carbs. I'm sorry, not high carbs, high fat and high calorie for what it is. So it doesn't really fit into my diet as far as I eat high protein, but there are some days where I just need more fat. And so this is going to be great. And whenever I just, like want something a little sweet and have some room, then, this might be great also. But we'll see how it tastes. I need 6 tablespoons of melted butter. So I'm just going to get that into a microwave safe bowl and get that melted using short intervals so that I don't cook my butter. I just want to melt it. And then, although it has been in my fridge, so I can put it in for a little bit longer. The recipe calls for 1/3 of a cup of water and 2 eggs. So if a recipe calls for eggs, it automatically means large eggs, unless it says some other size. But if it just says egg, then it's a large egg. And I'm going to clean up my mess. Just going to kind of break these up and check on my butter. It's looking pretty melted. I've just got a couple bigger chunks in there. Sometimes if you just swirl it around, the hot butter around that chunk will kind of melt it, but it's not quite getting there. So I think I'm just going to put it in for a couple more seconds. There we go. All right, I'm actually just going to wait for a minute to put that in. I just don't want to cook my eggs. So I'm going to add my brownie mix in so that it kind of like can go into that too and not just cook my egg. The brownie mix smells good. Okay, and then butter. And we'll give these a mix together. And just like all brownies, we don't want to overmix this. The box actually says about 50 strokes. So it's got some kind of chunks, like it's a little chunky. I'm going to try and break those up, which sometimes when you make brownies, like it can be a little chunky, but these are like big chunks. And I don't want those. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to get it into my pan. And get it all spread out. It is really thick. Oh, I see. The chunks are chocolate chips. I didn't know there was chocolate chips in it. Huh. I hope they kind of melt into it. I don't like chocolate chips in my brownies. Had I known that they were in there, I probably would not have bought this. But I'm hoping that they just kind of like melt into it and just make it more delicious. But don't like kind of hold their chippiness. Okay. All right, so then we're supposed to bake this in a 350-degree oven for 20 to 24 minutes. So I'll check them at 20 minutes, but I'm also going to taste the batter. I love brownie batter, so I've got to try it. It's not as sweet, but it does taste like brownie and like flour. Like I can definitely taste I think it's almond flour. Yep, there's almond flour in it. Almond flour and allulose, coconut flour, cocoa powder, unsweetened chocolate, which is probably the chocolate chips, I'm guessing. Mm, Nothing else that really kind of sticks out, but I can definitely like it's definitely not as sweet as traditional brownie batter. And I can kind of taste the flour. So I'm not really sure how well these are going to turn out, but we'll see. I baked them for 22 minutes. I used a toothpick. It came out quote unquote clean. So there's not smears of batter, but it is still pretty soft, which is what you want to have in a brownie. So I'm going to go ahead and just let these cool completely and then I'll try one. My brownies are cooled enough to eat. They are like pretty much the thickness of traditional brownies, maybe a little bit thinner, but not too bad. The flavor is very much like the batter flavor, where it's not quite sweet enough, and you can really kind of taste the flour in it. So, I mean, they really taste very similar to other brownies that I've made, like homemade keto brownies, which haven't been the best. I did get a bite that had one of the chocolate chips in it, and that helped, but it's not enough. They're not really sweet enough. They're not really what I would look for in a brownie. I might use this mix again, but then add in a bit more of my own sweetness and kind of see what happens.